Welcome to A Cup Full with myself, Tshegetso Mwebi, a safe, honest, and open space that aims to help you navigate healing, growth, and just overall prioritizing your well-being. It is guaranteed to get uncomfortable for sure and very vulnerable, but more than anything else, an opportunity to enjoy the peace that comes with working on yourself. Here's to filling your cup up. Hi community! Thank you for joining me in a new week for a new episode of A Cup Full. I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. This week's episode is all about reminding everyone to slow down and live in their season. So I've recorded a similar episode before. The only difference with this one is I'm kind of reflecting a lot more, and I really just want to remind every single person that might be battling with this, or that might be sort of finding this to be an obstacle in their lives right now. I wanted to remind them that this is your life and you are the one that's in charge. You are dictating what success looks like to you, what your dreams look like to you, and what the process of getting from point A to point B looks like for you. So I'm almost in my late 20s, and life looks so much more different than what I had planned for or anticipated. I have said this before on one of the previous episodes, that back when I was in my early 20s, I thought that I would have made it to my various desired destinations. I said it in the Navigating the Turbulent 20s episode. If you haven't listened to that, please go and give it a listen. I feel like it was a really good reminder for me as well, just to slow down and give myself a chance, because the 20s are very complex as they are, and it doesn't help that I'm beating myself up over the things that I have no control over, or over things that are just happening, So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't. I think that it will be very helpful for people that are in their 20s and are trying to navigate their 20s right now. So as I was saying, I really thought that I would have reached my desired destinations. And when I say desired destinations, I'm talking happily married, with healthy, beautiful children, living in the home of my dreams and driving my dream car too. I would be working my ideal job and doing what I love every single day of my life. My bank account would be healthy. My businesses would be thriving. I would be traveling every 2 weeks or monthly. Look, life wouldn't be perfect, but it would be something close to it. And I realized a little bit later on, or as I grew in my 20s, that the idea of what success and happiness and peace and being well looked like for me back then, when I was in my early 20s, didn't come from me. It came from society. It came from social media. It came from, the values that I was raised on, the beliefs that I was taught. That was not what I had decided for myself. And of course, we are not islands. We are raised by people, and we then form different kinds of communities as we get older. But the difference with getting older is that you can really question things and then decide if they fit into your life or if they don't. And so what has happened with me over the last few years of being in my 20s is that I've had the opportunity to really ask myself, what is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? Are the things that I was talking about when I was 20, 21, 22, 23, do those things still stand? Is my idea of success really my idea, or is it society's idea, or is it, my family's idea? Is my idea of a goal, is it someone else's, or is it mine? And so I've given myself so much time to really get to know what it is that I want. get to know myself, understand what fits in with tshegetso and what doesn't. And that's kind of made it easier, not even kind of. It's made it very, very easy for me to not go onto Instagram and, think that that's what I need to do to be considered as successful. That is not at all how it is. I don't need to be anyone other than myself for me to reach my pinnacles of success, for me to reach my goals. And I think that's also something that has made growing into myself so much easier. Question things. Don't be comfortable with just going onto social media or hearing people say this is what success looks like. Success needs to look like what you want it to look like, because this is your life. It is the life that you need to live through for the rest of it. And if other people are going to dictate what your life is supposed to look like, then it isn't actually your life. So have certain things changed in terms of what I consider as success, what I consider as peace and happiness? Oh, most definitely. And I definitely see myself getting married one day and having children. I definitely do, but it looks different for me right now. How I would like for it to look looks completely different to how it looked before, and that is because of I've given myself a chance to grow into myself and to question things and to be okay with not having my success look like the next person's success, not having the goals that I have set look like everyone else's goals. They can't. I'm an individual. And I also just wanted to link this to this idea of constantly needing to grind and be busy and needing to pursue and needing to have a goal and needing to have a dream that you are busy with on the table. Another thing that I have learned in my 20s is that there are seasons, right? And there are some seasons that require you to not be doing anything, pursuing anything. Your goals can still exist. But sometimes you need to stop. And so this very intense hustle culture that we live in just makes people believe that stopping means you are failing. It means that you are falling behind. No. I'm here to tell you that you need to stop. You need to stop, and you need to give yourself a chance to breathe. You need to stop and realize that it is not the time for you to be moving. It's the time for you to stop and breathe. You need to stop and understand. You need to stop and understand that this is your life. It's not the next person's life. And you're trying to understand what it is that you consider as thriving, what you consider as success, what you consider as happiness. So, if you want children and you want to be married and you want to live on a house in the hills, wherever you want to live, and you want to drive a specific car, then those are your goals. But as long as they are your goals according to you and they are your dreams according to you, as long as no one is dictating it, not social media, because whether we like it or not, social media, it really does have such a big influence on people's lives. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it is used as a platform for influencer marketing, right? Very, very powerful. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They command so much presence and they command people's attention. And people, they do take a lot from those spaces. But you also need to be very, very careful with what you consume and how much of it you consume, so that it does not end up consuming you and convincing you that there's something wrong with you when you're not constantly busy, when you're not constantly grinding, when you aren't finding ways to make 5,000 rands in a day. Please, 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 please. The idea that you need to be busy, that you need to be grinding, that you need to be making money, hustling, pushing. No, that is so unrealistic. What you need to be doing is figuring out what your life looks like to you. When you are sitting in a chair 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what is it that would look or would be success for you? What does success look like for you? When you say you are successful in 10 years, what is it? Do you own a farm? Or if you're a person that wants a family, for some people, success, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, success is being able to have healthy children that a person will be able to love and take care of. For another person, success is being able to open 3 6-figure companies, that become incredibly successful, or a company that just grows from one strength to the other. For another person, it is acquiring multiple qualifications. For another person, it is being someone who just makes money in various innovative ways. And so once you've defined what success looks like to you, you can get comfortable in following through with whichever process you need to follow through with to get to a point of success. And when you need to stop and rest. When it is a season for you to collect resources, to collect tools, so that in the next season you can build and you can pour resources and you can chase your dreams and your goals. But the idea that you constantly need to be chasing a goal or a dream, no, sometimes you just need to be existing and going about your day, and that is fine. That is absolutely okay. So the reason why I was speaking on how different the idea of success is to me in comparison to in my early 20s is because I wanted to just demonstrate the importance of allowing yourself to grow and allowing yourself to acknowledge your seasons and allowing yourself to appreciate the seasons that you are in without constantly being in a panic, or without thinking that, oh my goodness, I am failing in this life because I am not achieving 1, 2, and 3. So it really is okay. It's okay if how your life looks now is completely different to how you had imagined it would look a couple of years ago, right? Like, for example, where I am right now is a completely different story. I am still struggling with going through an existential crises or existential crises. I'm still figuring myself out. I'm still learning and healing and growing. I'm still trying to make it into my ideal or dream field of work. I am still, which is completely okay. My age is just that. It is my age. And being the age that I am doesn't mean that I now have to, oh my gosh, be in a panic, in a rush. I need to, be acting out of character and scrapping every single way and just being in a constant panic just because of I don't work my ideal job yet. Definitely not. There is no rush because this is my life and my journey. I am someone that believes in God. So I also know for sure that when it is my turn for certain things to come to fruition, they will by God's incredible love and grace. So, you know what? The idea that society is constantly pressing onto, especially people in their 20s, that they need to have their lives sorted out and figured out, and you need to do certain things at a certain point in time, is completely false. Also, the idea that by virtue of being a woman, for instance, you should want a family, or you should want, the things that society says a woman should want that will then make her successful, is also a lie. So, what I would like every single 20 something year old that is listening to this podcast right now, you need to go and sit and figure out what success looks like to you. And once you've figured that out, then you can also work on the process and look at what the process would look like for you. If you need to go to school for 4 years and then get your qualification and then start working, then that's what you need to do. If you need to work for 4 years and save money to start a business, then that's what you need to do. If your dream or your goal is to own property or whatever by the time you are 30 or you're 40, then you figure out and you research and you work on what the process would look like for you. There isn't a blueprint. There is no blueprint, but there is a way to take care of yourself and to mind your steppings, and to take care of your mind and your heart and your peace and put yourself first by figuring out what your ideal life looks like for you. Leave social media out of it. Leave your cousin who is a doctor out of it. Leave what your parents say success is. You need to figure that out. And once you have figured that out, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get comfortable with it and get confident with it and follow through on it. Very, 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 very important. I think when you give yourself a chance to think about what it is you really want and where you see yourself, you are able to also acknowledge where you are and be content with that. Like, I'm really, really content with who I am right now, and who I'm working towards becoming and being. And I'm content with what I have. My life is filled with so much love and with so many people who show it to me every single chance that they can. I have the most incredible people in my life. I really, really am so grateful for that. And I'm able to appreciate that without saying, I have this, but I wanted this, or I have this, but I want more of this, or I have this, but I deserve this. No, it's also not the season for me to be doing that. I don't think there is ever a season actually for us to not be able to practice gratitude properly. It's important to learn to practice gratitude as an individual. It's important to understand that what you have, what you are fortunate enough to have, is what you need, and it's what is important. Every single good thing that you have in your life, that is important, and that is special, and that is something that you should be grateful for. The love that you're getting from the people in your life. If you have accessibility to something, to a resource or a tool, that's something that you should be expressing your gratitude about. The fact that I'm healing and growing from things I just couldn't see myself getting past, I'm so grateful for that. I'm learning to let go of the things I cannot change or control, like when I will get my dream job, or when it will be time for me to get married, or when it will be time for me to have children. I don't have an age attached to those things anymore. I do know that when it is the time, it will happen, and I'm so content with that. I'm very, very, very content with that, and that is that. I'm not going to claw at it any further. I'm not going to obsess about it. That's not going to help me. Also, when you sit and just obsess about things and try and figure out why it is that you are not getting to this place at this specific point in time, again, it takes away from you being able to see the good things that are happening in your life. You are so focused on the things that are not happening that you forget that there are good things that are happening, and that you forget that it is important to express gratitude for them. So if you are like me, right, or if you are in a position where you are in a season where you just need to exist, the best that you can do is take everything in and take good care of it all, because you have good things in your life, and they are good things at the end of the day. Things, for me, I know that things are not as I would like them to be, right? I would like to buy myself a nice expensive handbag, and I want to be able to buy myself makeup and fly out to Cape Town. They aren't as I would like them to be in some aspects, not in everything, but in some aspects. But they are exactly how Teredo needs them to be in this very season. And with that, I'm very content. With that, I'm so happy. Right now, I don't have to be pursuing some grand goal or dream. I just need to have gratitude, stay committed to becoming the best version of myself, and love this version to the fullest, as well as treat myself with the utmost kindness. I also know for a fact that my life is not going to stop just because I can't afford to get onto a plane and fly to Cape Town. I cannot force myself to have money to fly to Cape Town. So until I can, I'm just going to have to do something I can afford to and do it to the fullest. Like, express gratitude, be grateful for the fact that you might not be able to do this thing. The time will come for you to be able to do it, but you can enjoy doing something else, something that you still will enjoy, right? The point I'm trying to make here is you don't always have to be pursuing something. There's nothing wrong with you if you aren't. There's nothing wrong if there isn't some big dream that's sitting in front of you that you are working on aggressively right now. Sometimes that is not the season you are in. Sometimes all you need to do is exist and carry on with your schedule as per usual. It doesn't mean you're abandoning taking care of yourself and working on yourself. In fact, you are going to be able to do that a lot more because you are focusing on the things that are in front of you right now. You are focusing on your schedule, you are focusing on breathing and relaxing, so you're not abandoning anything. You are, in fact, going to take even better care of yourself. It just means you're paying attention to the season you're in and just existing, going about your life and enjoying it. Now, I know that it isn't easy to look around you and be content with being the person who feels like they just aren't getting life right. I've been there. I want you to ask yourself a very important question in that moment. When that question pops up, ask yourself according to who also. Ask yourself according to who. If the answer is according to TikTok, according to Instagram, according to people on Twitter, according to society, according to anyone that is not you, if the answer to that question or to that statement, whatever it is, why am I not getting life right, or life is just not coming around for me, just ask yourself according to who. And if you've given yourself a time and you've sat down with yourself and you've said according to me, according to what I've decided what an ideal life looks like for me, then you can then go back and say to yourself, okay, I have this in my life right now, I have this tool, I have this resource, and this is the process or the procedure that I want to follow to achieve this, to get to this point. But if you haven't given yourself time to sit down with yourself and figure out what your ideal life looks like and what success looks like for you ideally, and the only points of reference that you have, or the only things where you are consuming and getting all this pressure from is on social media and from society at large, then don't pay it any attention. Focus on figuring out what your end goal is, what your life will look like ideally for you. That's the important thing, especially when it comes to money and overall accessibility to certain spaces, people and things. Please ask yourself according to who. I also know that there's very limited physical freedom without any money because almost everything costs money. But if it's not the season and you are not making enough money and you are in a maybe very tedious season in your life where you need to just be grinding, working hard, saving and sticking to that, then that's the season you're in. Work like that. Stick to that. Keep on going on that road. That's the thing you're meant to be doing at that point in time. The best you can do is work hard and just try your best. Yeah, try your best and don't push yourself into a corner or end up acting out of character because of you feel like you aren't succeeding according to social media and society and extended family members. I saw a post on someone's Instagram story and it was speaking about how people that are just stepping into their 20s want what people who are in their 30s plus have. That one individual success or idea of success should be everyone else's. That you always need to be grinding, always pursuing something. Just an overall rushed approach to living. Remember that a person who is in their 30s has been working for a very, very long time. They have accumulated a number of things over time. They have been able to save money over time. They have been able to acquire material things over time, even property, might even be cars, or, these are people that have been working for a while. You are in your 20s, fresh in your 20s, or that kind of expectation on yourself, because you are definitely going to end up pushing yourself into weird situations, weird corners, doing things prematurely. Please give yourself a chance to go through the motions and go through the steps and let yourself grow into yourself and let yourself understand what you want and what you are trying to get to, it's going to take a while. I'm still learning and figuring things out. But do not rush the process. And do not want to compare yourself to people who have been collecting things bit by bit by bit by bit, and who have been working hard and laying the foundations for their lives. We all need to put in effort. We all need to put in work. We cannot avoid those things. You can't bypass it. So give yourself a chance. Don't be impatient with yourself. If you are in your 20s and you find that you are struggling with being able to understand, or wanting access, struggling with just wanting access to material and certain spaces and certain people, when it is time for you to get there, if it is meant to be that way, that's how it's going to be. But please be very, very careful with being envious of people that have been working on themselves, on their material possessions for a while. Don't put yourself under that kind of pressure. You're young and you're still trying to figure yourself out. The only success you need to be reaching for is your own. The one that you are comfortable with, the one that fulfills you. There also isn't any rush. There really isn't. The idea that your life only starts properly when you have accumulated certain things is not true. Don't end up not being able to acknowledge the valuable people, moments, and things you have in your life right now. Learn to practice gratitude, be accepting of your season, and focus on cherishing the amazing things you have in your life right now. I really understand. I have been there. You know, when you're young, like when you're super young, you think that you need to be doing what everyone else is doing. The only thing you need to be doing is focusing on enjoying your youth. You're young, you are learning and you are growing. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to need to figure things out. Let the steps happen as they should. Please do not force yourself into a corner because you feel pressured, because the world is saying that you must have this by this age. Okay? Please. Please, 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 please. Remember that you aren't behind just because you don't have some big goal or dream you are pursuing. For now, just exist and be okay with that. Be completely fine with that, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is really nothing wrong with just being, and just being in your season. And just, I think this brings us to the end of this week's episode. It really does. Thank you so much for joining me. Please, 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 please just allow yourself to be, allow yourself to grow according to what you see as most fitting for you, not because of somebody else said that's how it must be. Please don't forget that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. You can download an episode that is most convenient to you without Wi-Fi or data connection. Please don't forget to give a Cupful a 5-star rating and share any comment or thought you might have in the comment section of whichever platform you're listening from. On Instagram, it is at @a_Cupful, where you can share your thoughts via DM and stay informed about new episodes and any other important information. Please also share the podcast as far and wide as you possibly can. Have a beautiful remainder of this week. Rest when you need to, work when you need to. Value your time and existence, and don't forget to keep doing the things that fill your cup up.